The largest creators and brands are completely dominating short form video because they have teams of editors working around the clock to create dozens of clips from every long form piece of content that gets published. But what if I told you that you could match this kind of output with one single AI system? In this video, I'm going to show you how to use n8n and Vizard to build a system that does exactly that. You drop in a YouTube video's URL and it gives you back ready to post video clips complete with hooks, captions, and cuts, all optimized for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. Make sure you stay and watch until the very end of this video, as we're going to give away this entire n8n template completely for free. So that way, you'll have the full playbook to replicate this entire n8n system that you see here for yourself. Let's kick things off here with a full demo of this n8n automation. The first thing we got to do is find a YouTube video that we want to clip, and so I'm just going to pull up this OpenAI podcast with Sam Altman and see if we can get some good viral clips extracted. Coming back to n8n, I'm going to kick off the workflow, paste in that YouTube video URL, and go ahead and get things started. The first thing that's going to happen here is going to be our initial request, where we send this YouTube video over to Vizard.ai to get everything started. And so if I refresh my dashboard, we can now see that this OpenAI video is now processing in the background to analyze that video and extract some viral clips. This is a 40-minute video, and so it may take some time for this full loop to go through and finish analyzing. So I'm going to pause here and come back as soon as that finishes. All right, we're back, and we can see that our Get Clipping Status request up here just finished up, and so we should have our results back from this clipping operation. Coming down to the bottom here, we're going to share these results in Slack. So let's switch over here to see what they look like. We got a nicely formatted message for some of the top video clips extracted from here. And how this is done is through these following nodes here in the workflow. The big thing to note here is where we filter out based off the virality score. Since it's a 40-minute video and there's a lot of different clips that can get created, we want to make sure that we're only surfacing the best and most likely to go viral. And so from here, we had 8 that went in, 4 that went out, and those were the ones that got shared here in Slack. Let's go to Slack and click on one of the ones that we see here that we think could be a good viral video. So the incredible journey behind ChatGPT's magic answer has a 10 out of 10 virality score. Let's pull this up and see what it looks like.
Your phone out and you type something into ChatGPT and you get the answer back. You probably, at this point, you probably don't even think that's like particularly surprising. You just expect it to work.
So I won't play it all, but that's a little snippet of what the video clipping process looks like. We get that final video back with captions and subtitles all in place, along with the switching camera views of the speaker going back and forth between Sam Altman and the interviewer. So that's an overview of the demo. Up next, I want to take you guys through the full node-by-node walkthrough. That's going to show you exactly how to build this, how to customize this, and how to recreate this for your own content systems. Hey, just so you know, I'm actually giving away this entire n8n automation template completely for free. All you have to do is click on that first link in the description of our YouTube video to join our free school community called AI Automation Mastery. Once you're inside, go over to the YouTube n8n Resources tab, find the post that matches the title of this video, and inside that post, you're going to be able to download this JSON file that contains the full n8n template. Starting off on this walkthrough, let's go into the trigger. Like many of the other automations we've built in the past, we're just using the built-in n8n form trigger that's going to allow us to input YouTube video URLs to get this automation started. And so I have a single element set up inside this form called YouTube video URL, which is a text input, and we just have a required value here with an example YouTube video. So easy to get up and running with that YouTube video coming in. The next step here is going to be the request that we make into an AI tool called Vizard.ai. So as you can see here, we're using this URL to pass through our YouTube video URL into their system. So before I talk through getting set up and using Vizard's API, I want to show you a little bit about what Vizard is about. There's a couple of different, AI clipping tools that exist out there. I opted to choose this one because it gave a good balance between price and quality. Right now, I'm just on the creator plan, which costs only $29 a month for 600 upload minutes. So that's on the YouTube video side, not on the clips you're creating. And you can scale this up depending on your demand. The other reason I ended up choosing Vizard.ai was because of their API support. Very important for me when we're trying to automate things. And so if we jump over to documentation here, it has all the necessary info that you need to get up and running. So With all that in mind, let's go over to building out the request into and using the Vizard API. So if we go to the quick start, we can see a couple quick steps on how to get up and running with obtaining an API key, submitting your videos, and then retrieving the clips. And so we're going to do exactly that. The first thing we got to do here is authenticate with the API by using the API key on our Vizard account. So if I go into my Vizard dashboard, we can go underneath our settings, under account, API, and then we're going to be able to copy our API key here as the first step. Going back to the developer docs, we now need to look how we can use this API key and send that information with us on every single request that we're making. So let's go down here to obtain your API key and scroll down to submit a video for clipping. And we can look through the headers and different parameters getting passed in to see where that authentication and API key needs to get used. So I'm seeing here on this curl request, we have this -h, which means a header we want to include on the request, and they have this value specified for the Vizard API key. So that tells me that on every single API request we're making, we need to pass in this header with the Vizard.ai API key name, and then give our API key as a value. So let's go ahead and build a new API credential that's going to do exactly that. And so we'll go to authentication, select generic credential type. We'll go to header auth, and let's make a new credential. And so since I have my API key copied, I'm going to go ahead and paste that into the value because that's what's mentioned here for the value after the colon for this header. For the name of the header, we're just going to copy this Vizard.ai API key. So come back, we'll paste that in, and then let's just name this Vizard API. So that's all we have to do to get up and running and authenticate into the Vizard.ai's API. So now we're up and running with authenticated requests. How do we construct this request to start processing the YouTube video URL that was passed in from the form trigger? First thing we got to do is come down here, make sure we have it as a post request, and then we got to build the JSON body that we want to send all of our data through with. So I like to do an expression. We can blow this up, and we can see that we have a couple of different parameters coming into here. When I was building this out, all I did was copy in between this -d section here to grab these parameter values. And so I can copy this, paste it in, and we can see that this is going to match pretty much one-to-one to what we're building. The only thing that I tweaked here for my workflow is this extra parameter called max clip number. This lets you set up a limit for the maximum number of resulting clips that you want to get back from Vizard.ai when they're going through and analyzing your video. Don't have to do that. That's just an option you can set up when building your requests. The other thing you have to do if you're building this request manually is pass in the real YouTube video URL from the form input trigger. So if I delete this, drag in the results from our form trigger, we're going to be able to fill that in dynamically. There's a couple of other options here like prefer length and video type. I'm just going to leave these as defaults because video type equal to 2 means it's going to be a YouTube video. And then prefer length set to an array of 0 just means that Vizard.ai is going to auto-determine the best and most optimal length for the clip we're trying to create. So there's a couple of different customization options available if we look here into the docs, but I'm just going to keep it as the simple defaults for now. So highly recommend diving into the docs if you have some customization options you need to work on or are not happy with some of the initial output that you're getting back. There's a couple of different things you can do and change for that output. So let's clear this out and move on to the next part of this automation. The next part I've set up here is going to be this group of 3 different nodes here where it's kind of set up in a loop structure where we're going to be doing something called polling this get clipping status endpoint. Polling is a system we can do, especially for these long running asynchronous operations like video processing, where we're giving the Vizard.ai system a 40-minute video and it has to do a lot of work in the background. Compared to some other HTTP requests where, we just get data back immediately, all we're getting back is a code for the status of the operation, as well as a project ID that we're going to be able to use as a later reference. And so we don't have any videos yet. And so in order to move forward, and if we look in the docs, we're going to be able to see this. If we go to 3 here to retrieve our clips, we're going to be making a GET request to this URL and pass in the project ID we got from before in order to retrieve that status of the clips and then eventually retrieve the final clips. And so I'll pull up this HTTP request node that we have here, where we make that GET request, where we use that same URL shown on the docs and dynamically pass in the project ID we got from before. So that's all set up and running. If this was a request that was still pending, we're going to still see some other code here. I believe it's 1000, which means the background processing is still ongoing and we don't have any video clips yet. And so when we check status and see it is equal to 2000, we know we're able to break out and continue processing those clips. But if it's not equal to 2000, if it's equal to 1000 or something else, we want to loop back here to this wait node, wait for 10 seconds, and then try fetching those results again. And so that's just going to repeat over and over again until that full 40-minute YouTube video is fully processed and we have a number of video clips to get back, analyze further, and continue processing in the rest of our n8n workflow. Let me now show you what the data looks like coming back from Vizard.ai when the video processing is complete. And so the code is equal to 2000. We have our project ID still, and this new field that comes back with our resulting videos. And so if you remember from before, we passed in and specified that we want 8 videos to come back. And so that matches what we're expecting. 0 to 7 equals 8. And on each of these videos, we have all the data we need for it. So we have a virality score on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is the most viral video. We have a URL to go out and download the video, a transcript of the clipped video, and some other metadata that comes back, like why it's going viral, and even an optional title and caption we can pass through for later videos we're going to share on social media. So this looks great. Let's continue throughout the rest of our workflow. So then once again, we get that back. We're going to check the status. And since the status is 2000, which in the Vizard system means it is successful, we're able to break out of this loop and enter this final section here where we share the best viral clips into Slack for us to review and then later publish. So the first thing here is going to be a simple node where we send the clip results message. I like to follow this pattern and then use a thread of results when I'm getting many results back, as it gives us a good way to organize this. And so this is just a simple link to the YouTube video we went out to clip. That's step number 1. Step number 2 here is going to be a little bit of data cleanup off of that resulting video data we got back from Vizard.ai's API response. So we're going to set our video field just as our own array. We're going to split out the one video array into multiple different items. So we're taking the 8 items and adding them here. We're going to filter out the items that have a virality score of less than 9. We only want 9 and greater for the best optimized social media videos. And then we're going to loop over those 4 videos. So we're going from 8 to 4 and sharing each of those results in their own Slack message. So we got a title, we're going to share the virality score, and then we're just going to have a simple backtick code block here that's going to share a link to that video for us to go out and download. So let me show you again what that looks like in Slack. And we can see the 4 videos that all have a virality score of 10 or above. And then if I click this, we're going to go ahead and start to download that MP4 file for us to review, and then later do any other processing we need to with it.
All right, before you go, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Seriously, do it, because we're gonna be breaking down all of the AI automations that we use to run all of our businesses. They're super helpful, and we're gonna break down exactly how we do them on this YouTube channel. So make sure like and then subscribe, and then you'll get notified when we publish new workflows that can make your businesses run 20 times more efficiently, just like we're seeing here at the recap and the other businesses that we're running. The other item is join our school community for free. The link's in the description. You'll be able to get this template, this automation that we just ran through in this video, completely for free. You can go to school and navigate to the video that you want, and then you can download the JSON output for the n8n automation. With that, you can upload it into your n8n, clone it, and then tune it for your business and your use cases. So like and subscribe, join our free community to get this automation for yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.